All right, I'm here with Master Jedi Bill Allred.
Yes, may the Force be with you.
And not only Master Jedi, but also someone I've looked up to for many, many years. Radio from Hell show. Mm-hmm. It's been going for how many years now?
Yeah, I don't know. Since Radio from Hell, I've been working with Carrie since 1986, but I think the Radio from Hell show started in 1989, 88, 89.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just about when I first got here from California.
Yeah.
Yeah, so very cool. So, Bill, I'm just interested in kind of your story, your background. I think when I visited you at your house a few times, you told me you were a teacher at one point and different things.
No, I was I have done some teaching, but no, I was I wanted to be an actor. Is where I'm from Utah. I was born and raised in Ogden, and I always had kind of a theatrical bent. I was a show-off kid, and my mother always encouraged me to, perform in front of the family and recite poetry. And my mother was wanted to be an actress, I think, but then she had me, and she decided that was it. She decided she needed to raise kids instead of pursue her dreams, which was unfortunate. But so she always encouraged me in doing that, and so I thought I was going to be an actor, and that's what I pursued. I went to college and studied acting at Weber State College, and went on to graduate school and studied acting at Penn State University, and
wow.
And then I went off to try and be an actor, and that's a hard thing to do. And
yes.
But I kind of pursued it for a while, and was acting in various parts of the country, and just kicking around. And I got an acting job back in Utah at the Utah Shakespeare Festival, and
oh wow.
So I came and did that, and then I was once again out of a job when that was over and broke, and went back home to Ogden and was trying to get some money together and go back to New York where I had been living. And this is all a really shortened version of this,
yeah.
and was working in a bar that a friend of mine owned in Ogden.
Oh, wow.
Saving up some money, and a guy came into the bar and said, "I just quit my job at a radio station, and you ought to check that out. Yeah, go try. Maybe you want to try that." And I thought, yeah, I ought to go check that out. And as it turned out, I knew the owner of the radio station. It was just a local Ogden radio station at the time. Simple AM signal. That was it. And I thought, well, I want to get out of the bar business. I'll go work at this radio station and save up money and go back to New York, because the bar business, it sucks. And went and talked to him, and he said, "Sure, I'll hire you." And I thought, great, I'm going to be on the radio. That'll be kind of fun. And I'll do that for a little while and then go back to New York. So when I thought I was going to be on the radio, he said, "I'll hire you. You can be on from 11 o'clock at night to 6 in the morning."
Oh, wow.
I thought, wow, 7 hours of being on the radio. He said, "What you're going to do is you're going to load up these tapes of other people talking. You're not going to be talking." Oh. Well, okay. I mean, I have all this theatrical training, and I'm not going to be talking. Oh, well, you can go on once an hour and do the weather.
That's crazy.
It's going to be cloudy tomorrow. And, okay, well, I'll do that. And but it wasn't long before he said, "Hey, you got talent," and then I just kept doing it and found out that I liked it, and I used a lot of the same skills that I had learned at acting, and I just kept doing it and doing it and doing it, and here it is. That was at the end of 1979.
Wow. So
I always say I started radio in 1980 because I think it was November of 79. And so I never just didn't look back.
Wow.
I mean, at some point I said, I guess I'm going to keep doing this. And here I am today. And what year is it? 2018? Still doing it. Yeah. Still doing it.
So how did you get on? So how did the Radio from Hell show start? How did that whole concept come together? You met your friends there.
Everything. So many things are accidents, and I don't know. Do you plan things? You sort of plan them, I guess. I'm sort of a believer in you. If you work hard and do things a certain way, then accidents happen, but they're accidents that you're ready for. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You're ready for that accident to happen. So when for instance, Kerry Jackson gets hired by this boss, all of a sudden it's just right. It's the right time, the right place, and we click together,
Wow.
and start doing that morning show. And then then things all start falling apart with that morning show. And we did break apart. The Radio from Hell show broke up for a while.
Really?
Yeah.
Off air?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Was it just you and Carrie?
It was just Carrie and I doing the show. And then that radio station, that was the old KJQ.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and it blew up. There was a lot of people embezzling money, owners, and this had nothing to do with me and Carrie. It had to do with a lot of bad actors behind the scenes, and it blew up. And Carrie and I split up and went our separate ways. Carrie went and worked at another radio station, and I didn't do anything for a little while. And then some people got together and started X96.
Oh wow.
Carrie was already working at another radio station, and I went with X96. And we did X96, and I had a different partner for a little while.
Oh, wow.
And we didn't have a Radio from Hell show. We had the show called Project X.
Oh, wow.
And we did that for a little while, and then the guy I was doing Project X with, Dom Casual.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that? Mm-hmm. Remember him?
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So he decided he was going to go somewhere else. He had an opportunity for a better job, he thought, and so off he went. And so people were saying, well, who are we going to get to do the morning show with you? And I said, well, I know this guy named Kerry Jackson who's still in Salt Lake at another radio station. Would kind of make sense that we ought to do. And Kerry Jackson was sitting at that other radio station, and he'd heard that Dom Casual left, and Kerry Jackson was thinking, it would kind of make sense if we got the Radio from Hell show back together again, and that's what we did.
Wow. So were you guys friends after you guys?
Yeah, we stayed friends, and we still did we used to do a commercial together for a store called Smith and Edwards. Uh-huh. Do you remember?
Yeah. Smith and Edwards.
Yeah, Snuffy and Guffy. Snuffy and Guffy, the country boys against Smith and Edwards, the country boy store. So we would do those ads, and so we'd get together once every couple of weeks and do those commercials. So wow. we still were in contact with each other. So that was X96, and here we are today.
Wow, it's still going strong.
Mm-hmm.
And I do a lot of media purchasing locally, and your guys' show is very, very premium. It's the best show.
I know you should be advertising on it.
We're negotiating.
I know you are. That's the tough part, because we don't have anything to do with that, and that's always frustrating.
Yeah,
that's always so frustrating.
Well, you guys have always been the best, through all the management changes from different things, and you guys have always been so consistent. And
I like to think so. I mean, we really care about the reason we do well. Just talking about crass commercial stuff right now, not anything artistic or anything like that. We really care about the clients that we have. That we personally talk about, and there are any number of them. We probably have 10, 15, 20, maybe up to 20. Mm-hmm. And they're not all on all the time, but 20 local people, local businesses that we talk about. And we only do the ones that we really like. I mean, when we talk about a business personally, it's a business that we do genuinely like, that we like the business, we use their products, their service. We want them to be successful. We want them to be successful because we like them, we like the product, and because if they're successful, they will continue to pay us, and we're successful. It's just,
It's cool how you run it like it's a business.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great business. It's that we're making each other happy. It's the way it should be. Mm-hmm. I go into I get my car fixed at XL Automotive Repair, mm-hmm. and we do commercials for them. And whenever I'm in there, I will always meet somebody in the waiting room, and they'll go, "Well, you really do come here." want somebody who's there getting their car fixed. And I go, yeah, I do, because they do a good job, and because they buy commercials from us, and then so I'm happy to give them my money, and they're it's just the way it should be done.
I remember that when we did a lot of stuff for a lot of years down there, and it's interesting. Something that just baffles me, and I want to know maybe if you could share maybe some of the recipe. It's you continually create so much new content, and it never sounds pre-planned almost. I mean, it sounds so spontaneous and incredible. How do you have so much new content and material and things to come up with, and it always seems fresh?
'Cause it is. I mean, we almost never pre-plan anything. We used to write sketches and things like that. And that was that was okay. They were usually pretty funny. We very seldom write anything sketch-wise, like little comedy bits anymore. There's nothing wrong with that. It's people who can do it and do it well. It's really hard to do well, like writing sketches like Saturday Night Live. That's really hard.
Yeah.
And if you can do it well, more power to you. When we stopped doing that, actually our ratings got better. I don't know why.
Wow.
So we talk about, we don't ever talk about anything that we're going to talk about on the show. We don't ever discuss it beforehand.
Oh, yeah.
So we just let it come out spontaneously. When it comes to commercials that we do, we do have written, points there, but we don't generally read a written script. So there'll just be points, say if it's PC laptops, there'll be, it'll always say on the copy, "We love you."
Right.
Always.
Yeah.
It has to say that.
Yeah.
And we will always say that in some way, but we'll always try to find a funny way or a fresh way to work that in, to turn it on its head. And so a PC laptops this week, bring your computer in, make sure you get it tuned up. And did we mention that they love you? Did we mention that? I'm not sure if we said PC laptops loves you, but just be sure that they do, because they do really love you. We just kind of just fart around with it.
Wow. It comes out so fresh, though. And what's really another thing that's really been on my mind, I always wanted to ask you, is this. You guys talk about some pretty controversial topics sometimes, right? And looking at the following, I follow lots of social media, and sometimes you guys talk about and are very opinionated on things. But you guys seem to be able to, even like the conservative crowd, the more liberal crowd, whatever it is, you've got a massive following from all sides of the fence. Like, how do you balance that?
I don't know.
It's amazing.
We get people who, we've had clients, not many, but we've had clients who said, "I'm not advertising on that show. They're too liberal." I don't know. I hope we try to treat people who don't agree with us, at least try to treat them with respect. It's so hard in today's political climate, and I think we have a certain number of people who tune in and listen to us because they hate us. and that's okay. There are certain people who hate listen. That's fine.
They're still listening
yeah,
every week.
They're still listening. We have people who say, "I hate you because you," and I don't. I'm never going to listen. You said this and this and this and this and this and this. I said, well, it's okay. You're listening. You're able to rattle it off point by point. I don't know. There are, and we do get people who call in and say, I don't agree with most of what you say, but you're pretty funny sometimes when you say stuff, So I think we try not to let it get too heavy too,
Yeah.
We'll leaven it with humor, try to do it in a funny way most of the time. But again, in this climate today, it's hard to do because things are things seem awfully desperate right now. I don't
Crazy,
know.
huh?
Yeah, just like, oh man, it's hard.
Yeah.
Hard to do.
How do you deal? I mean, obviously you have thousands and thousands of fans that love you. How do you deal with those haters? Do you ever take that personally? You ever get crazies? I get crazy sometimes, but I'm just curious on your endurance technique of how you deal with that psychologically. People don't agree and maybe get real mean
I don't. Oh, I don't care. I don't care. They can say mean stuff about me if they want. I don't care. I just don't. It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I mean, if they criticize my looks, then it upsets me. Really? I'm not that ugly. Come on. Jeez.
Maybe that's the secret is it seems like you guys don't have a problem making fun of yourselves.
Yeah, really. I mean, somebody said something today. What was it that kind of, I can't remember. Somebody did say something today that I read in the comments. There are comments that flow through. Mm-hmm. I can't remember what it was, but I kind of thought, well, that's kind of mean. Or oh, I know what it was. It was just that they didn't get it that I was making a joke. I said something about. It doesn't matter. They just didn't get it. I made a joke, and I thought it was a really obvious joke, and they didn't get it.
Wow.
They just didn't get that it was a joke. Well, Bill, there really is this, and I know, I was joking. Anyway.
That's funny. So my favorite segment of all is Boner of the Day.
Mm-hmm.
Probably a lot of people's favorite. Do you have some favorite Boner of the Days that maybe you could share? The craziest?
Good Lord, Dan, we have done so many of those that I don't even. People will say, "Hey, do you remember the boner that you did last week?" I go, "Nope." We've done. So I have to put them out of my mind immediately. There's so many, and we do. I don't know if you know, but we do now. Instead of 3 boners a day, we do 6.
There's so many.
We do 3 in the 7 o'clock hour. We do 3 in the 8 o'clock hour, and then the winner from the 7 o'clock hour and the winner from the 8 o'clock hour face off in the 9 o'clock hour to be the ultimate winner.
It's like a contest.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you and the team just kind of decide which one is the most awesome.
No, we let the listeners decide.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so
no voting system.
Yeah, it's just the same. People call in. People call or they email or text votes.
Wow.
Yeah, and so for people who don't know, who are watching this, the boner of the day it's the old-fashioned meaning of the word boner. Your grandpa maybe used to say to you many moons ago, if you made a mistake, he'd say, "Well, you sure pulled a boner that time, didn't you?" And that just means mistake. It's the classic meaning of the word boner. You made a mistake. You pulled a boner. And I've looked up. I've tried to find out where that came from, and nobody's very clear on where that saying came from. But it just means mistake. Uh-huh. An example of bad or stupid or funny human behavior. And so there are three boner candidates. It can be the bank robber who tried to rob a bank with a pair of underpants over his head, or it can be a political person. So we have a moratorium, or we don't ever nominate Donald Trump as a boner candidate because we could just do one every.
Do you and Carrie and Gina, do you guys find the boners for every day?
I do all of them almost every time. Sometimes Carrie and sometimes Gina will say, "Oh, did you see this one?" And I'll go, "Oh yeah, I saw that one," or if I haven't, I'll go, "Oh no, I didn't see that. Yeah, let's do that one." But I get up in the morning and I pick them all.
Oh wow! So you scour the internet for crazy stuff?
Yep.
Wow.
And then I think up a title for them, and
that's the amazing thing, because I'm doing podcasts, obviously, and things like that, and a lot of listeners out there are doing something where they need to come up with new content, and having more than 2.5 decades, right, of new content. Mm-hmm. It's just amazing. I try to write down everything in my head, but at a certain point, sometimes it's like, what do we talk about?
Yeah,
it is.
It's hard, but part of it is that we we talk about what goes on in our lives. Like I was just at Arctic Circle. Okay, I have a confession to make. I was 5 minutes late coming over here. It's because I was over at Arctic Circle, which is close to your in the parking lot here.
Oh, yeah.
and it took them a long time to get my French fries. I don't know why. I was a little early, so I thought I'm going to go get some French fries at Arctic Circle.
Really good.
Yeah, I hadn't had French fries at Arctic Circle forever. I thought, I'm going to get some French fries. So I was sitting there waiting for my French fries. That's why I was 5 minutes late here.
No problem.
I texted you from the Arctic Circle. So I'm sitting there and I'm just looking around the Arctic Circle, and I hadn't been in an Arctic Circle forever and ever and ever. And I start writing down I carry this little notepad with me wherever I go.
Oh, wow.
So I'm sitting there writing notes about Arctic Circle.
Oh,
see, so it's
that's a secret.
Arctic Circle. Franchise opportunities are available. It's had on the table topper. And then, the woman at the counter called me hun. And she said, I'll get those French fries right out to you, hun. And then I went and sat down at the table, and I thought, well, then how's she going to find me? Because other people, they ask their names, and then they call, Jerry. So I was waiting for somebody to go, hun. So those are the kinds of stories I would tell on Monday
This is cool.
at the show,
So
on the show.
That, in a sense, is your material and your script, your life.
Yeah.
Document.
Yeah, so that's how you do it.
That's a great hack. I'm going to start doing that.
Yeah. So, people ask me, why don't you do it on your phone? Mm-hmm. And I do have note-taking stuff on my phone, and I sometimes do use that. Mm-hmm. But I find I'm sort of old-fashioned because I used to always just write notes. But I think there's something more, and I know you're a man of the electronic age. You are.
I like papers, too.
Do you? I find there's just something, it makes you kind of remember things a little better if you write it. I don't know. There's this sense memory, too. You think about it. I have a notebook with me all the time, too. At night, I sit down and I write a list of things. I write it out. I tried to do task lists, Google task lists and all of that. Mm. They don't work as well for me as I write out a task list. My wife, she does grocery lists on the phone and stuff. Mm-hmm. Why don't you do? And I said, I don't know. I write the grocery list on a piece of paper. It just works better for me. I don't know why.
Wow. Maybe that physical motion, making it real, locking it in.
But the computer, like I get up in the morning, I open up my PC laptop.
Thanks.
You're welcome. That's a great computer, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
It's better than my computer that I use at work by a mile. So I open up my PC laptop, and what I've learned to do, I used to print up all my stories that I do for the news. I would print them on paper. I'd always look them up years ago I would buy newspapers, and then I'd underline stories and then tear them out and read them like that. Then I got to the point where I would look them up. I would look the stories up on the computer, but then I would print them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Finally, I've gotten to the point where I said, get me another computer screen. So I have two computer screens, and I get up in the morning, and I do my PC laptop at home, and I save all the stories I want to do. I clip them into Evernote.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
Yeah, and then when I get to work, I can just line up the stories I want on that other screen in Evernote, and then I can click them open. So I finally have gotten a little bit high tech that way.
Yeah.
So I'm not wasting paper all the time, and I can organize them that way.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. But anyway, that's how you find things to talk about all the time.
That's phenomenal. That's a great trick, actually, for anybody creating content.
Yeah, if you need to create content or find something to talk about with your friends, or if you're going to write a speech. Let's say you have to talk. If you're a business person and you have to talk in front of a group of people, and you think, I got this big speech coming up. What am I going to talk about? Just start once an hour during your day. Stop and think about what you just did in that hour. What did I just do? And then just kind of write down a couple of things that you just did.
Oh yeah.
You know, and then look back on it at the end of the day and go, huh. And something will strike you. You know, you'll go, that's interesting. That'd be kind of interesting to talk about to a group of people and relate to a topic. And so a topic, you know, maybe you know what the topic is, but then some of the things that you did during the day would relate to that topic. And, you know.
That's an amazing gift to be able to do that and practice that and be consistent with that.
Yeah.
Here's an interesting thing. I mean, for doing this such a long time and constantly creating this fresh content you've shared with everybody how to do that, what's the most challenging thing that's happened over this last 25 years? Just said, screw it, man, I don't screw this thing. You know, I'm going to, you know, I thought about that and, you know, just thought about doing something else totally. Is that ever come into your mind? And
doing another job, you mean?
Yeah. Did you ever just get so frustrated with something and just want to maybe run away, do something else?
I did once, about 6 years into radio.
Oh.
It was before I started doing the show with Carrie.
Mm-hmm.
I'd been doing radio for 5 years, 6 years maybe. And I don't know, it was just, I was working too much. I was working I still work probably too much, but I was working way too much. I was working like 12 hours a day and
wow.
And Saturdays and it just, I was getting burned out on it and so I decided I was not going to do it anymore. And this TV station job opened up. They a low power, a UHF station. You know, remember
wow.
UHF stations? Yeah. It's the station that eventually became, I don't know what. Well, it was Channel 30 in Ogden.
Oh, so yeah.
So and then it became
Warner or something.
Then it became Channel 20, and then it became 13. I think. Yeah, I think that's what it is now. Is the Fox? It became Fox 13. Mm-hmm. I think. Anyway, it started in Ogden, and it was real low power, and nobody could see it, and it was terrible. But I knew a guy who worked there, and he said, "You can come and work here, doing promotions." And so I said, "Okay, that's what I'm going to do." And I quit the radio, although I didn't completely quit. I still went in on Saturdays and recorded commercials for them and did a public affairs show for the radio station. But I went and I instead of getting up at 4 a.m. and doing radio, I'd get up at 8 o'clock in the morning and put on a suit and tie and go to the TV station and and I hated it. It was terrible. It was just awful.
No fun.
And at some point I said, I can't do this anymore. And I went back to the owner of the radio station, said, can I come back and do the radio again? And he said, you bet. I've hired this guy, Kerry Jackson, and you come back and do the show with him.
Wow. So that's how you got back on.
Yeah. So I ran away at that point. And sometimes now I feel kind of like running away occasionally.
Really?
Yeah.
So if you were to run away, what would you go do?
I don't know. I wouldn't want to stop doing this. Maybe I'd just like to do it a little less.
Yeah.
I might be getting to the point where I want to wind it down a little. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. Do it a little less.
Anything big on your bucket list that you want to do more of with that extra time?
I don't know, man. I've done a lot of stuff. I've done, I've been to Europe a lot. I've been to Nepal. I've been to Japan. I've never been to Africa. Kind of like to do that.
That'd be cool.
I'd like to go back to Australia. I've never been to New Zealand. I'd like to go to New Zealand.
Oh, wow.
I'd like to sleep a little more. I don't get enough sleep. I don't know. But I wouldn't like to stop doing radio. Mm-hmm. It's kind of I realized it's a really weird conundrum, though. It's what I like doing the most,
mm-hmm.
but it's also something that I can't do for all my life. I got to stop sometime. I just don't know how to stop. I don't know how to stop.
Yeah, kind of an interesting thing. a few of my mentors have told me about how their goal was to make millions of dollars, buy a mansion or Ferrari and vacation homes. And all this. And three of my mentors over the years, they made over their $100 million and retired. And every single one of them gained over 70 pounds and had suicidal tendencies within 6 months.
Yeah.
Because how many pina coladas can you drink,
Yeah.
And so that, and I can relate with you because I was thinking, man, maybe should I sell these tech companies and things? But now I've been reinvigorated and I want to really spread to the world, some of the things that I've learned. And I really thank you for coming on because bringing in masters like yourself that have been through so many different things. I think all these young people have a lot to learn and they can avoid a lot of landmines and deal with a lot of psychological things that come up, by hearing some experiences like you've experienced, maybe I've experienced. And so it's been kind of a cool thing. So one thing that you were talking about too before we were a little earlier is the podcast you have.
Yeah, the Let's Go Eat show. That's where. So the original concept was just to talk to pretty much local, well-known local people for the most part over a meal. Just have something to eat and talk to them. We don't always have something to eat in the last couple of years. Most of the time we do, but sometimes we just sit and talk like we're talking now. It's just, you can find it wherever you get a podcast, wherever, iTunes and, wherever you find your podcast, which is called...
This one, Dan's Millionaire Code.
Dan's Millionaire Code. This is just the Let's Go Eat show.
The Let's Go Eat show.
And so, for instance, what's the most recent one? Oh, do you know who Alex Boyer is?
Oh, yeah, he sings really great, like incredible.
Yeah. He's really
awesome.
good. I didn't really know who he was until 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago.
Oh.
I'd heard the name, but I was the MC at a suicide walk at Liberty Park. It's called the Out of the Darkness Walk. The American Foundation for Suicide Prevention does it every year, and I've been there for probably 8 years, 9 years. I do that one in Salt Lake, and then the following Saturday, I did the one in Ogden. 6,000 people at Liberty Park, probably about 3,000 or 4,000 people at Ogden.
Wow.
And I do both of them, and I have a personal kind of stake in it, but my brother, Noel, ended his life by suicide 10 years ago.
Oh, sorry.
So I was at this suicide walk in Liberty Park a couple of weeks ago, which, by the way, is not a somber event for the most part at all. It's a very upbeat. There's a somber ceremony, but for the most part, it's a very upbeat day. People who've lost people to suicide, but they get together and they have this common bond, and they also they know the importance of bringing this problem out into the open, talking about it and not being ashamed of it. So anyway, here we are, and Alex Boyer is there. And he's going to perform. And I thought, who is this? And he started to sing and dance. And I thought, well, this guy's really good. Who the hell is he? So while he's singing, I'm looking him up on my phone and going, oh man, he's a big deal. He's a thing. I mean, he's got quite a story. And he is absolutely charming too. He's really a nice guy. He's very charming, and he has a hell of a story.
Wow.
Hell of a story. You
should interview him. Right?
Well, he's on the Let's Go Eat show, the most current one. So if you want to hear Alex Boyer's story, just go to the Let's Go Eat show, where you can find it wherever you get podcasts. So, and people like that. But then I've had most of the mayors of Salt Lake at one time or another, politicians, local celebrities, whatever, all of them. I haven't had you on.
No, maybe I can come visit. Yeah,
you are a local celebrity.
Oh. Well, you're a major local celebrity. Hey, I want to circle back a little bit to the suicide prevention. And it was interesting because one of my Facebook Lives a few weeks ago, I talked about that, and I think I rubbed some people wrong as well.
Why?
Because, I experienced some super dark times before I came to Utah. I mean, I was really, really having some dark times. I was thinking about taking my own life at a certain point, and I lost family members and friends to it as well.
Really?
And I reached out to a mentor, and just to try to get some counsel of how do I deal with this, And he said to me never to give up, just don't give up. And he gave me a list of what worked for him. And this is actually the mentor who made hundreds of millions of dollars and gained all that weight, and then he wanted to end his own life after 6 months. And so he said, Dan, this is where you got to really, and this is where I figured out kind of the basis of the mentoring program that I do, is he said, Dan, first you got to feel physically good, the best you can. Take care of yourself, eat right, exercise right. And then you also have to have your goals very much set correctly for your financial goals, and also your personal development and your mental health and spiritual goals. You can't ignore any of those because there's no pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. And so he recommended that I do that, and so I was able to self-help a little bit and get some advice, from different friends and talk about it. And I feel like maybe I just got lucky a little bit, to be able to deal with that. But I rubbed some people wrong in it because I said in the Facebook Live that, my mentor told me that suicide would be the ultimate failure because your friends and your family would be depressed and sad, and be devastated if you had ended your own life. So by doing that, Dan, not only you're helping yourself, but maybe telling your story would help other people. So I shared that, and I did rub some people wrong because I know a lot of times for people it's something that could be a psychological condition that may need medication or other forms of things and therapy and things. But I think my personal opinion is self-help for a lot of people can be maybe a step, and it may solve a lot of people's problems. So maybe you could bring a little bit of awareness to the audience out there if they're experiencing those kind of feelings and dark thoughts and how to contend with it. And maybe you've had to.
I'm trying to kind of piece together what you just told me and why that may have rubbed some people the wrong way. And the best I can come up with is that everybody is different. Everybody has a different story. My brother, there didn't seem to be any outward indication that he was contemplating anything like that. It was a surprise. But then we all look back and think, well, but was it a surprise? Should we have been? And so then what do you do? Do you beat yourself up about that? Do you get depressed? Do you feel guilty? Do you my mother probably certainly did. I didn't. The thing that I felt was so sad for him. So sad for him that he felt he had no other choice. And so it. But I know what you mean too. Sometimes you want to say it's unfair. You want to say to the person who ends their own life, you want to say, well, it's not fair of you to do that. It's not fair of you to do that to your family. But there's so many reasons and that people end their lives that way that you can't say that. It's and have I ever felt that way? I don't think so. When I was in high school and college, in some of my college years, I was pretty lonely, or I was pretty. I had some hard times, but I don't think I was never at that brink of. I was very desperately unhappy a lot of times, but I don't think I would never call that suicidal. I was just just really, man. I mean, I had a rough childhood, an abusive childhood, but I don't think I ever thought that that was the only solution to things. I thought at some point I would grow up enough to be able to take charge of my own life, which I did. I grew up and I took charge of my own life, and
so you made a decision.
Yeah.
Be responsible.
Yeah, and I mean, I thought I will be in charge of my. I think that's something that it's a valuable lesson to teach kids from an early age. You are responsible for yourself. You need to be responsible for yourself. I mean, I'm here to help you, but you ultimately have to be responsible for yourself. I guess you were asking me before we started if there's any causes that I would be passionate about, and I would say suicide prevention and would be one of them, and being able to talk about it. And if people were torqued off with you about it, about that, that's okay. At least you're talking about it. You were talking about your own struggles, and that's being honest. And that's just being honest and you were talking about you have family members. But a lot of people won't even talk about that.
Well, my roommate,
they try to cover it up.
It was crazy because my best friend, Steve, and roommate in high school, when I first came to Utah, I went to Highland High School here, and he was my best friend. I hung out every day. And he said to me, one day he called us, and he said, guys, I'm done. You'll find me in the canyon, Mill Creek Canyon or something. I'll be in my Jeep. And everything I have is in here. You guys can do what you want. I love you guys. And then the police went up there and they found him. And it was devastating for all of us. We didn't know what. We were just dumb teenagers trying to understand. And we're totally uneducated on what to do. And, and it was probably one of the most painful things. He was like a brother, And so, that's where like that mentor at that time, I was really down after that, was like, dude, you got to get your crap together, Dan. You just playing around all day,
Yeah. Again, those people on Facebook are probably referencing to, I just talked to a woman in Ogden at the suicide walk there. And she said, I have lost 2 sons to suicide. 2 sons.
Wow.
I said, my God. She said, and then she pointed to her daughter and said, and she is exhibiting some of the same behaviors.
Wow.
And the only thing that you can infer from that is there is a chemical. There's some sort of a chemical problem, a brain chemistry. There's some kind of a chemical problem there. There is no fault of the parents. There is no fault of those kids. There's just something in the brain chemistry that's going on there. That's probably what they're reacting to. That if you say, "Well, it's not fair to the family," or they can't help it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess more it's just me not being educated and I guess maybe you have a lot of experience with this. For the listeners out there, if they're feeling this or have a family member or friend that's exhibiting something, what should they do? What should they say?
I think you just have to love them. You have to try to get them help. If you can't make them, I guess if they're young, you can take them to the doctor. You can take them to help. If they're older or teenagers, you can't make them get help. You can't force them to take medication, but you can certainly. There are people in my family who take medication. We have to constantly remind them and make them kind of take your medication. Did you take your medication? You better take your medication. Okay. So you got to do it. And there's nothing wrong with you're nagging me. Yes. Yes. And stuff like this. I got this email just yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, my name is, that's the first name, so I guess it doesn't matter. Jordan. I'm 16 and the Hope Squad vice president at my school. I've been listening to you on Radio from Hell every morning since July of '06. I've heard your stories and I love the work you do, not only on the air but off the air throughout the community. I know you've been working hard to raise awareness and help those who have been touched by suicide. I'm in charge of putting together an assembly November 1st for my school. I was wondering if I could convince you to come and speak. My mom will bake you treats, enough to share with your crew, too. We're also trying to get a band to come and play to help. If you cannot come, I understand. I'd be open to any input or suggestions as well. Thanks for letting me listen. Thanks for being you. Geek Show says hey. Gina, tell Festus I say hey. Richie, lose the porn stash. Thanks for your time. And then he says the school and so forth. And I just sent him an email back while I was waiting for my French fries at Arctic Circle.
Oh, yes.
I'd be happy to do it. Give me a call. So it's everywhere. Schools are trying to deal with it now better than they ever have. And it's through doing stuff like that. And these Hope Squads are in schools everywhere now. Mm-hmm. So that's a great thing. And more and more and more and more of this. This is going to help immensely with the problem of suicide.
You know, the universe is, my wife always tells me, the universe is connected for a reason. And it was funny because the whole reason why I wanted to start doing more of this podcast and live stuff is because that message I told you that Instagram follower, he decided that, he was in really a dark place, and every week he messages me. That was really inspirational, and it was funny because that was a driving force. My wife is like, this can change lives, So I just want to make sure that, whatever resources that, we can give listeners and things like that, if they're personally experiencing something like this or if they have a friend or family, at least maybe steer them in the right direction to be able to get help.
There's an app, if you're a high school student, I don't know how many high school students would listen to this or watch this, but Safe Utah, mm-hmm. I think it's called Safe Utah. Safe UT. It's an app. Okay. And if you are feeling any suicidal urges, you just click on that app, and there are any number of there are phone numbers and places you can call. Or if you know somebody, click on that app. Is that what it is? Is Safe Utah or Safe UT? Mm-hmm. Crap, I should have it here. Or look up the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Mm-hmm. They have local Utah lines. They know exactly what to do and where, if you are feeling that yourself. And most schools now have these Hope Squads and people who can help you. So. I get a lot of followers who are kind of like 40 years old plus, mm-hmm. and maybe are not where they want to be mm-hmm. in life, and they're reaching out, Dan, help me be a millionaire, help me this, and I can help them maybe with things that I'm good at, maybe financial stuff and, tech stuff, real estate stuff. But on this, I'd just love to figure out a way to direct them if they're having this. Because, the self-help thing works for some people, but not everybody, Yeah. If you're having those kind of thoughts, the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, just afsp.org, afsp.org, and then there'll be a Utah line or connection there.
Good. Hopefully that helps a lot of people there. It's kind of interesting how we got on this subject. This is the universe, coming together here to talk about this. So
yeah, there it is. I just Googled AFSP, and then right there it's AFSP Utah. So
right. So everybody go to AFSP Utah or refer anyone to that site. Yeah. If they want more information on how they can help with that. Wow.
I want to know how to be a millionaire. I'm a thousandaire, I think, but I'm not a millionaire.
Well, Bill, I'll be happy to help you. You've got my direct line, and I'm putting up all these videos, to try to share at least what I do know, mm-hmm. and hopefully that does help some people, make a difference. So if people, one last thing.
Yeah.
This is really important, is if you could give one piece of advice to all the millennials listening, or even the older guys and gals listening, being through so much yourself, what would that piece of advice be?
Pay attention. Pay attention. just kind of pay attention to what's going on around you. Just be aware of things.
Mm-hmm.
Know what's going on in the world. Don't live in a bubble. Know what's going on in the news on a daily basis. Know what's I think it's weird that we don't know the names of the mountains that we live by. That we don't know the names of most of the trees in our neighborhood. And I don't mean like the trees have names like Ed and Johnny and Susan. The varieties of trees and flowers around us. Yeah. And I don't know all of them, but I know some of them. You should know something about the world you live in.
Yeah.
You should know something about the weather patterns that are around you. You should know something about the rest of the world. Mm-hmm. The political and social forces that are going on around the world.
Yeah.
You should know what's happening to the Rohingya. You should know what's happening with the ethnic cleansing of the Rohingya, and you should know about the socio-political forces in other parts of the world. You should know what the next big crisis is going to be. It's water, folks, water. Not just here who controls the water in the world? Who controls it? When the drought happens. And I'm not talking about conspiracies by any means at all. Mm-hmm. This is not a conspiracy. You should know what climate change is and how it's going to affect you. Pay attention. Don't just walk around in a bubble.
That's very sound advice.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I'm going to focus on that.
Why is the sky blue? That kind of stuff.
This is good. And this is how you create all your new materials, because you're being aware of what's around you.
I try to.
And document that on your notepad.
I try to. But I get just as in a fog as anybody else a lot of times. I'm just like, huh? What? Oh, yeah. But I try.
Wow. That's great advice. That's great. I'm going to add that to my note list.
No, I don't know. I try to know a little bit about everything. I'm not an expert on many things, but I try to know a little bit about everything.
You seem like you know a lot, though, listening to your show. So, okay, just maybe to summarize it up, where can people find you again? Everywhere.
Well, let's see. You can find me on Twitter at RFH. So that's Radio from Hell. At RFH Bill. That's Twitter. I don't really do much with Facebook. I'm there. There's a Bill Allred page. Mm-hmm. There's a fan page, a Bill Allred fan page, and then just Bill Allred. Mm-hmm. But I don't remember the last time I looked at them. I'm sorry.
Your podcast, though, right?
The Let's Go Eat Show. Got to put the there. The Let's Go Eat Show.
The Let's Go Eat Show.
Yeah.
That's easy.
And then there's a podcast of the Radio from Hell show.
Yes.
And then the Radio from Hell show is on the radio, live, X96, which is 96.3 FM, Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m.
People can stream that too, can they?
On their computers, yeah. Simple, and we have listeners all over the world who stream it live, and that's just x96.com. You can see it live too, x96.com/live. So there are live cameras there as well.
Excellent. Probably a good 75% of our followers are out of Utah. So I think it would be cool for everyone to see your material.
And there are generally some pictures that accompany. So you'll see us live on camera, but then my son Dylan, works with us, and he puts up like photos during the news or videos during the news and stuff like that.
That's great.
So any place else? Oh, there's a Radio from Hell Twitter, which is at Radio from Hell. Anything else? And then there's a Radio from Hell Facebook page, which a lot of stuff is on.
Yes.
There's a lot of material there.
Excellent.
That's probably about it.
Wow.
I don't know if we Snapchat or... I don't know. Yeah, or I don't think we do. I don't think we're on Tinder. No, I don't think
Swiping.
so. Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Bill, I really thank you for sharing your wisdom with everyone today. I think a lot of what you said is going to make a big impact on everybody. And really, friends, tune in and really watch Bill's material. I mean, he is, in my mind, a walking knowledge base, database of current events and amazing things, and he puts a killer spin on all of them.
And if you want to just contact me personally and yell at me, or praise me, it's just Bill. It's really simple. Bill at x96.com. That's email.
Bill at x96.com.
Yeah, simple. You can just rip into me. You can just let me have it. Bill at x96.com. Bill, what a turd.
Thanks again, Bill.
Sure, my pleasure.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming in. And friends, remember also, this podcast, we don't have any advertisers or sponsors. The whole point is to try to help you with different things in your life, and I try to bring in great friends like Bill to share some wisdom to help you. If you found it valuable, follow all the Dan's Millionaire Code on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all that. And please share this, if you could, with a friend if you found it helpful. And again, thank you. I appreciate you watching. And Bill, thanks again.
Sure.
You're the best.
You like my new tattoo?
Oh, man. Oh, that's pretty sweet.
The Buddha.
The Buddha. My daughter drew mine. It's the @ sign, because she's like, Dad, that's where it's at.
Right there.
Yeah, hopefully that doesn't go outdated, for email address.
My ex-wife, her name is Claudia Allred, and she does that for her CA.
Oh.
Huh?
Oh, there you go. That's sweet. Is that new?
Yeah, pretty new.
Oh, wow. Cool.
See ya.
Bill, you're the man. Thank you.